Hello and welcome to How to Recruit 20 People in 30 Days and still get a ton of customers along the way. I'm really excited that you made the decision to get this home study course. Over 5 modules, I'm going to guide you on step-by-step the importance of fulfilling this project and making this happen, number 1. Number 2, the mindset necessary in order to kind of get your mind ready to be able to go and complete the task. And 3, the strategy, the skills and the strategy necessary in order to be able to help you make it happen, okay? Now, over these 5 modules, this is module number 1, but we're going to be talking about preparation in this module. Second module is going to be filling the funnel. How do you get so many appointments scheduled in a short period of time that you're busy and you're moving towards your goal? So I call it filling the funnel. If you can imagine a funnel and you're putting lots of prospects into that funnel at different exposure points, I'm going to show you how to fill the funnel very quickly. Module number 3 is how to tell your story. What do you do once you have an appointment? Even if you're brand new or you've been around for a while, what do you do in telling your story that will help you get a result that you want to achieve with this prospect, whether it's them becoming a customer or a distributor, okay? How do you tell the story? How do you do that properly? Module number 4 is how do you help them make a decision to join? You've got all these people, you're gonna have to, as you engage in this process of recruiting 20 people in 30 days, you're going to have lots of people thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I got to talk to somebody. I got to do some homework, all these different things. So how do you help them make the decision? How do you help them overcome their, help to overcome their objections, answer their questions? How do you help them make a positive decision and get off the fence one way or the other, okay? And then module number 5 is once you have these people, how do you get them started? How do you get them off to a quick start so you can enjoy more duplication in your business? It's one thing to recruit 20 people. It's another thing to get 20 people into activity, getting them started properly so the duplication starts to work for you. Instead of just addition in your business, it starts to be duplication in your business, okay? So that's the 5 modules: preparation, fill the funnel, tell the story, help them join, and get them started. All right? Got it? Now, let me just recap the importance of recruiting 20 in 30. I made a major discovery over the course of my career that first it was just one thing that I noticed, that every time I really went at a major push, I had some incredible things going, company went through a transition or there was an opportunity and there's momentum. All of my success, I pointed back to a few times in my career when I recruited a bunch of people in a short period of time. And it was always around 20. I don't know why, but it was always around 20 people, 18 people, 22 people, 25 people, 15 people, whatever it was, somewhere in that range that led to, that I could point back and I could point back to the success that I had in my career as a distributor to those little seasons. And then I started to pay attention. I started to ask. I know so many $1 million a year earners in network marketing. I started to ask them, what were the seasons of their career that created most of the results that they are enjoying today? And almost all of them could point back to a time, virtually everyone could point back to a time where they recruited a lot of people in a short period of time. And usually it was around 20 in a short period of time. And I was like, why is that? And so once I've made an absolute distinction that this is what separates some of the high earners from people who struggle in network marketing. Slow and steady does not win the race. Slow and steady will starve you to death. In our business, sometimes you need energy, sometimes you need intensity, sometimes you need excitement and enthusiasm and momentum for people to kind of get excited and get into action with you. It does so many positive things by a person making the decision to recruit a bunch of people in a short period of time versus slow and steady wins the race. And we're going to talk about that in this module. I want to give you kind of the mindset of the importance of recruiting 20 and 30. That's first part of this module. Second part is understanding the numbers, what it's going to take in order for you to get to your 20, because it's just math. It's a numbers game. And I promise you, every one of you has the ability to recruit 20 and 30 if you'll make the decision to do the actions necessary to recruit 20 and 30. Now we're talking about the schedule. How do you break up those 30 days? And we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the mental preparation in order to be able to do it. Because I know some of you are a little bit intimidated. Maybe you're intimidated even buying this course because you're like, I don't know if I'm ready to go that far. But I promise you, we're going to help you through it step by step, every step of the way over the course of this training course. Okay, so now I want you to think about first, what would it be worth to recruit 20 and 30? What would it be worth to you? Let's just do some math. And with this course, you've got a workbook that you can go through. And in this workbook, you're going to see this little formula that I want you to fill in the blanks, okay, with your company, with your opportunity, because people from all over the world, lots of different companies are engaging with this product. Now, first question is up front. Upfront commissions. Now, when you bring a person in and they become a distributor, what do you earn from their product purchase when they get started? Is there an upfront commission with your company on the product purchase that they make? They're getting involved. Now, what is that? You take the upfront. What is that for you? There's a number, times 20. That's going to give you a total number, okay? So what are the upfront commissions on the initial product purchase from your brand new distributor? That's one number to understand. Second number to understand is, are there any other bonuses? Are there any other bonuses? Do you have fast start bonuses? Do you have anything else that would kick in your compensation plan if you recruit 20 and 30? What other bonuses would kick in? And you come up with that number, right? That's the second number. Third number that I want you to take a look at is an estimated 12 months number. If you bring in 20 and 30, just estimate, take a guess at how much you would earn from bringing 20 in over the next 20 people in 30 days. Over the next 12 months, what would that add up to, do you think? Okay, just come up with an estimate. I'm not holding you to it. It's not scientific. It's just designed to help you kind of understand it. Fourth, the estimated lifetime value of bringing in 20 and 30. What's it going to be worth over the course of your career? I'll give you an example of a time when I brought in 20 and 30. I brought June of 2005. Yeah, June of 2005. I'm in a situation where I got to make something happen, okay? 11 years ago. And I decided I'm going to go after it hard. And I brought in 20 and 30. And over the course of the next 6 years with that company, I earned over $7 million in commissions. And I will tell you that about 80% of my income, I could point back to those first 20. So take $5 million, 20 people into $5 million is how much? Well, I mean, what's the lifetime value? What was the lifetime value just for those 6 years from that effort? Well, it was about $5 million. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have $5 million, but it's possible. You don't know what the value of any one particular person is when they decide to change their life. But just come up with a guesstimate. Now, 5, will you rank advance? If you bring in 20 and 30, will that happen? Does that have a value to you, to your organization, where you're going to make other commissions in different areas if you rank advance? If you become an example for your group, you could tell your group, hey, go to work, go to work, go to work. Or you could decide that you're just going to show them by example. Now, if you're an example for your organization Is there a value in that? Yes, there is. Now, you just have to determine what that value is. Is the value $500, $300, $1,000? What's the value of your story? Just the story that you went and brought in 20 and 30. What's that worth? Okay? So, 7, prestige or reputation. What's that worth? Just the fact that you went out and did this. So if you take up, what's the total value? I want you to add up all these things in your workbook, and what's the total value of bringing in 20 and 30? It's not just the upfront, is it? The upfront's a piece of it, sure. But what you get from other bonuses, 12 months of value, lifetime value, again, these are going to combine a little bit, but just for the exercise. Rank advancement, what's that worth? Be an example, what's that worth? Prestige and your reputation, story, what's that worth? Add it up, and you're going to come up with a pretty big number. What I want you to kind of realize here is if I can convince you that this is possible for you to do, I want it to be really hard for you to justify not doing it. Because it's so valuable, I want you to just go, well, I can't afford not to do this. I just need the skills to do it. And the great news is you already got the course. So I'm going to give you the skills. You're just going to have to take the action. Okay, so understanding the worth of this, number one. Second thing I want you to understand is why 20. Because I've done some analysis on the 20 thing. And here's what I will tell you. Success loves speed. Success just loves speed. So here's kind of what happens when you bring in 20, just so you kind of understand. If you got 20 recruits here, and you have 30 days here, okay? You bring in those 20, here's what's going to happen. About 12 of them will do something. 12 out of the 20 will do something, okay? Now, where did the other 8 go? We don't know. I mean, it's spooky how often this happens. You bring in 20, everybody's fired up, and then 8 of them just disappear. They get busy, they got something else going on, they go into the witness protection program. Who knows what happens? But 12 out of 20 do something. 8 of them just disappear. Maybe they just become a customer. Maybe they quit right away. Who knows? But this number holds, this general number holds, okay? So if you got 12 out of the 20 do something. Now, after 90 days, you're excited because you got 12 people. But do you really have 12 people? You really don't. After 90 days, it looks like you've got 8 people that are really making something happen, that are going to be long-term leaders after 90 days. So where did the other 4 go? Well, they got distracted by something. They went, oh, look, a bird, and they disappeared for a while. Who knows? But it looks like you have about 8 out of the 20 after 90 days. After a year, you have about 4. About 4. You don't really have 8. You're just kind of boiling it down. You have about 4. And I will tell you, one of those 4 will be doing over 50% of the entire volume of all of these 20. One of them. Okay? This is typical. Now, do you really have 4? No. After 5 years, you have about 2. 2 strong leaders, 2 strong lines out of those 20. Now, this is typical. Okay? Now, here's what happens. If you do it in 30 days, these are the numbers that you can expect. But if you do it in, let's say, 30 months, something different happens. Because if you bring people in a group, there's camaraderie, there's competition. It's like you're bringing in the class of whatever that year is, okay? And everybody's excited and everybody's motivated and they're pushing each other and they're friends with each other. But let's say you just brought in one every 6 weeks or so. Instead of in 30 days, you brought them in about every 6 weeks, you brought in a new person. Every single one of them feels like an orphan. Every single one of them feels disconnected from the group. Every single one of them doesn't feel part of the cool group. You know what I mean? Every single one of them feels lonely. So something happens in the dynamic. These are the results you can expect if you do it in 30 days, but let me give you what happens if you do it in 30 months. Typically, you'll have about 8 of these will do something out of your 20. 8 will do something. After 90 days, about 4. You'll have about 4. After a year, you'll have 1. And after 5 years, you got to get lucky. You got to get lucky. So you got 2 with this process. You have who knows after that process. So, because some people like to say, hey, just go recruit 1 person a month and teach your organization to recruit 1 person a month. I'm sorry, I don't buy that. It's just slow and steady does not win the race. You can't get enough velocity. You can't get enough momentum. I want you to get momentum. So what is the 20 and 30 worth to you? Okay? For you to stop crawling in network marketing, do something spectacular, or bust out to new levels of success. And success loves speed. If you do it in 30 days, here's what you can expect. Okay, as a general rule. It's no guarantees, but a general rule. And if you do it in 30 months, here's what you can expect. Now, which one would you rather do? If you're going to recruit the same 20 people anyway, okay? If you're going to do it the same anyway, why not just get it over with? Bring them in, give them the best chance for success, and go after it, okay? Now, you understand this and you understand this. Hope you have all this. You got it in your workbook anyway. So let's talk about the next thing. Let's talk about the numbers. This is a numbers game. Like anything, if we're trying to get 20 people to make a decision in 30 days, we have to understand the numbers, right? So typically, when I travel the world, I talk to organizations all over the world, the typical number is if there's 10 presentations, you're going to involve about 2 distributors, typically, okay? More or less, depending on the life that you've lived up until this point. I mean, if you've been a taker and if you've been, a super hermit introvert, you might get less than 2 out of 10 because you haven't built up a lot of rapport with people. If you've been a giver all your life, you might get more. If you had more success in your life, maybe you get more than 2 just because of your prestige. If you have less success, less credibility, maybe you get less. See, when I started in network marketing, don't think that this is a credibility game, because it's not. It's a credibility bonus to some people at the beginning, but it's not a credibility game long term. When I got started in network marketing, I had 18 jobs prior to that. 22 years old. No college degree, barely escaped high school. I had the opposite of credibility. But I made it up in numbers and ambition and determination what I lacked in credibility. So don't worry about where you're starting. Just understand, some people are going to get a bonus that's going to frustrate you maybe. Other people are going to get punished a little bit. That's going to discourage you maybe. But just understand, it's temporary. You're going to make it up in numbers, okay? So you understand? 10 presentations typically worldwide result in about 2. Now that's a huge number. If you're involved in any kind of sale, a 20% number, people making a decision to get involved in your company is a great number. So in order to get to your 20, what do you have to do? You have to do 100 presentations. You have to do 100 presentations in order to get to your 20. It's like you're already freaking out, right? Don't worry about it. I want to help you, understand how to do this. It's not going to be hard. Okay, we're going to bust down the numbers first, and then we're going to help you build it back up. Now, if there's 100 presentations, how many appointments do you need to have? It's not 100 because people don't show up. Stuff happens, the schedule conflict, they forgot, whatever. So call it, say, 125. 125 appointments will help you get 100 presentations, will help you get your 20 people to make a decision. Now, in order to set those appointments, how many text messages or calls do you need to make in order to get those appointments? Typically, you're going to be able to schedule about 50% of a text message strategy. We're going to talk about that in the next module, Filling the Funnel. So let's just kind of give you a general rule of thumb. Approximately 300 text or calls in order to get to your 125 appointments, in order to get to your 100 presentations, in order to get to your 20 recruits. Got it? Now, what does your list need to look like in order to be able to make those 300 texts or calls? I would say somewhere between 300 and 500. 300 to 500 on your list in order to be able to make those texts and calls, make those appointments, do those presentations. Now, don't stress out about this if you're like, hey, I've already talked to everybody I know. Everybody's already said no. Don't worry about all that stuff. I don't know what to say. I'm really nervous about this. Relax. I just want you to be assumptive right now and assume this is all going to work out. Assume that, I'm going to give you a strategy to be able to have a conversation with all these people that feels comfortable for you. Assume that people are going to have a positive response to this. Just assume success, okay? Let all the worries, move to the side for now. Assume radical success. Assume radical acceptance, all right? So 300 to 500 on the list will get you your 300 texts or calls, which we're going to get done quickly, which is going to make those appointments, schedule those, you're going to get your 100 presentations, and you're going to get your 20 people recruited out of those presentations. Now, here's the thing that I want you to understand. These numbers are what you would need to do if you're going to try and bring in 20 and 30 months. Just spread it out over time. These numbers are based upon kind of the general public. But understand this, if you'll engage in a condensed burst of energy, if you'll do this in 30 days, these numbers change. These numbers change. Here's what I will tell you they change to. Instead of 2, this becomes 3 to 4. 3 to 4, 30 to 40%. Just because you're doing them quickly, you're doing them all at the same time, you're doing them with different energy, different intention. So those 2 are not the 2 now, that's 3 or 4. So what does that mean? That means you have to do 60 to 70 presentations, not 100. That means you can do 80 to 90 appointments, not 125. That means you can do 150 texts or calls, not 300. And it also means you can have 150 to 300 on your list, not 300 to 500. So just understand, the added benefit of doing it quickly is you're going to get a much higher return on your time and effort and energy. And if you're like me, just understand, some of you are introverted people, and I get that. Let me give you the definition of introvert. They lose energy in a crowd, okay? They lose energy when they're around a lot of people. I'm an introvert, so I need my space, I need my time alone in order to be able to recharge my batteries. My batteries get really, really low in a crowd, and I've got to go recharge by being by myself. Extroverts, they go into a crowd, their batteries fill right up. So the introverts sometimes, they're trying so hard to guard their energy that they need to find ways to trick their mind into going into the action that they need to go into. And I'll give you an example. I'm talking to the introverts for a moment. I would much rather do this 20 and 30 than 20 and 30 months. 20 and 30 days, I'm in. Because I can get myself in a mindset that for 30 days, I'm going to go way outside of my comfort zone. For 30 days, I'm going to be outrageous. For 30 days, I'm going to swing out of balance. For 30 days, I'm going to do something spectacular. And then I can rest, okay? That's what's in my mind. I'm going to get that project done, and then I can rest. Versus the idea of having to recruit a new person every 6 weeks, I'm exhausted thinking about it. It's just like, I got to, always, I got to find this person. I got to, I'm exhausted, me. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know if that resonates with you. But I'd rather get it over with. And if I get better results anyway, I have to get myself in a mindset to recruit. I have to get myself in a state where I'm attracting the right people into my life and into my business. And I have a difficult time being in that state when I let all the other little distractions of life get in the way. I have to get into recruiting, animal recruiting mode in order to be able to get the best results possible. Okay? So once I understood the numbers game, once I understood what it's worth to recruit 20 and 30, that success loves speed, and here's what I could expect from bringing in 20 and 30, I understood the numbers, that I get better return on my time, and I can get the pain over with. Understand, get the pain over. What if you just did this once a year? You get the pain over with and then just work with the team and have a great time the rest of the year. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be fun? Instead of every day you're walking up and down the street trying to grab somebody that's by the throat and say, "Come, please join my business." Be a lot more fun, wouldn't it? At least it has been for me and for many of the most successful people that I know. So understand this. If you'll believe me here, my hope is that you'll do this. Now let's talk about schedule. We kind of break this down a bit. Your first it's not right. Your first 10 days, okay? In your first 10 days, you're going to be focused on contacting and inviting and setting as many appointments as possible and meeting people and telling the story. You're going to try and front load this 30 days with invitations and appointments. As many as you can possibly squeeze in to those first 10 days, we're going to front load the initial exposure into those first 10 days. Now, the second 10 days, you're going to also continue to have first exposures, but it's going to be less, and you're going to shift your energy to follow-up, answering questions, overcoming objections, helping people understand the product, maybe sampling something, whatever it happens to be, three-way phone calls, those types of things, okay? And then the third 10 days, we're going to be helping people make a decision. We're going to be helping people get to that point of decision. Yes or no, I'm in or I'm out. Now understand, through this whole process, I'm not a believer in just recruiting and not involving customers. Just understand, through this process, you're going to have tons of these people say, "Hey, the business isn't for me, but sign me up as a customer." And I'm going to teach you how to use the language to help them do that. Okay? So you're going to get way more than 20 customers. You're going to get 20 distributors, but way more than 20 customers through this process. So understand that what's that worth also. So first 10 days, front loaded as much as we can into massive presentation mode. Second 10 days, we're going to be more primarily focused on follow-up. Third 10 days, we're going to be more primarily focused on closing, helping those people make a decision that they want to make, not twisting arms, but helping them get past the roadblocks in their mind to make a decision that's in their own best interest. Okay? So we've talked about what is it worth. We've talked about success loves speed. We talked about the numbers game. We talked about the schedule. Now let's talk about the real preparation for a 90-day game plan. Preparation. Preparation number one is commitment. You've got to sell out to this. You've got to say, guess what? I'm going to the top. I am not stopping at 19. I'm not wimping out at 18. I'm getting 20. I'm going to make it happen. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what I have to do. I don't care how painful it is. I don't care how comfortable I'm going to get. I'm going to take 30 days and I'm going to make this happen. I am committed 100%. You know, the successful people, the formula for success that I've come to know in my life is successful people, number one, they say yes. Number two, they tell the world. And number three, they figure it out. So what I want you to do is make a commitment. I'm not talking about I'll give it a try. That's not a commitment. You're already almost guaranteed to fail. I'll try it. I'll see what happens. Stop it. You already bought this program. Step into it. Make the commitment. I'm doing it. It's going to happen. It's already done. We're just not into the future yet. It's over. It's finished. It's done. Tell the whole world that you're going to do it. Tell your team, tell your company that you're going to do it. All right? And then figure it out. And I'm going to help you. I'm here to help you. So commitment's number one. Number two is sacrifice. Something's got to give. And really, here's what I want you to understand. Are you willing to engage in short-term pain for a long-term return? Are you willing to be uncomfortable for 30 days? Are you willing to give up the things that you enjoy, maybe some of the things that you enjoy for 30 days? Are you willing to turn off the television for 30 days? Are you willing to stop mindlessly surfing on the internet for 30 days? Are you willing to give up some hobbies for 30 days? Are you willing to stop going to your sports teams or whatever it is that you love to watch for 30 days? Are you willing to not go to any movies for 30 days? Are you willing to, when you're eating, only eating with prospects maybe for 30 days? You understand what I'm saying? You're willing to give up a little bit of sleep for 30 days. You're willing to push yourself so hard that you're tired. Then that's fine for 30 days. It's worth it if you'll do this. And if you won't do it, I mean, if you're not willing to make the sacrifice, you just want to have, there's no free lunch. Every entrepreneur's gone through a season of sacrifice. Their commitment's number one. Their sacrifice is really important. So what are you prepared to give up in order to be able to get there? Now, if I was coaching you personally, face-to-face in your room or your home, we would be talking about what are the things that fill up your time right now. And I'd be asking you questions. Well, can you pull back a little bit on that? Let's say you run your own small business. Can you have other people manage the things that you fill up your time with for 30 days? Can you ask your spouse to pick up some slack for 30 days? Can you have arrange for other things to happen for 30 days? Can you hire somebody else to mow your lawn for the next 30 days? Can you see what I'm saying? All distractions. You've got to get rid of, you've got to make sacrifices in order to be able to pursue your dreams. What was it worth? We talked about what it's worth. Are you willing to sacrifice in order to be able to get it? It's critical. Next, you need to negotiate. Maybe first, you need to negotiate. Maybe these aren't in any particular order. But you need to negotiate with your family, especially your spouse if you have one, girlfriend, boyfriend. You need to negotiate and say, I believe our future is worth the effort. I'm prepared to really work hard for 30 days. Will you give me the space and the grace in order to be able to make that happen? Will you be the wind behind my back instead of in my face for 30 days? Okay? And we'll evaluate the results after 30 days, but will you allow me to have a laser focus for 30 days? Working hard, figuring out the hours, figuring out the time. And, so you negotiate with the kids also. Hey, if dad or mom is going to go do this for the next 30 days, and give them a reward at the end. I need you to encourage me and involve the kids in the excitement, the adventure. They'll be great with it. But you have to negotiate up front. Otherwise, there's going to be all kinds of bitterness and resentment because you're going to be home but not really home. You're going to be in the other room and everybody's like, oh, we're trying to hang out with the family for a few minutes. Why can't you just play the game with us? Why can't you just do that? And if you don't negotiate up front, you're going to have all kinds of resistance. So you have to negotiate up front. You have to sit down with them and say, for these 30 days, from this time until this time, I need you to encourage me to get my task done. Because if I do, our family changes. If I do, our future changes. If I do, the benefits of our life is going to be enormous. And if I don't, I'm going to be frustrated. Everybody's going to be frustrated. We're going to be living in a fraction of our potential. So negotiate with the people that you care about before you start. And if you have a non-supportive, some of you have a spouse or a boyfriend, girlfriend that's not supportive of your business. You know why they're not supportive? They're tired of watching you crawl in network marketing. If you're getting great results, guess what? They'd be so supportive, it'd be unbelievable. But they're not supportive because they watch you put in all this effort and you're not getting any results because you're doing the slow and steady thing. Go to that non-supportive spouse or partner and say, listen, will you give me 30 days of total, absolute, white-hot support? And then we'll evaluate together after 30 days. But I want to engage in this activity in order to be able to make this thing happen. Will you help me? Okay? They'll give you the grace for that 30 days because they're going to go, well, yeah. Let's see what happens. And now you got another reason to prove yourself to that spouse or partner. Now, let's talk about time for a moment. This one will scare you a little bit. It might scare you, it might not. Maybe you're so ready right now to do this 20 and 30. Let's get to these other modules. Let's make it happen. You're ready to skip forward. That's fine. But let's talk about time for a moment. I will tell you what I believe is a proper 30-day effort. If you want to recruit 20 in 30 days, it's going to take a big effort for you to do this, okay? Now, if you're part-time in network marketing, I think that means for 30 days, you're working 6 to 8 hours a day outside of your job. Okay? 6 to 8 hours a day on work days outside of your job and more on off days. So let's say you work 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. That means you're going to your job, but before work, during breaks, during lunch, after work, into the evening, put the kids to bed, and keep going through that process. You're going to be working 6 to 8 hours a day, focused energy. And let's say you've got 2 days on the weekend. Let's say you want to take 1 day for your spiritual health and your break, whatever your personal beliefs are. But you could take that other day, and on a Saturday, how many presentations could you do if you did one every 30 minutes in a Starbucks? Over 12 hours. You could do 24 presentations, couldn't you? Of course you could. You have to schedule them. But I mean, you can really get so much done in a condensed burst in 1 day on a weekend that most people get done in network marketing in a month. So understand the time for part-time, 6 to 8 hours a day. For full-time, I'll just tell you what I did, anywhere from 10 to 16 hours a day of focused energy if you're full-time. That's what I did. I did 8 a.m. to midnight every day. 8 a.m. to midnight. I actually did it for 90 days, the very first time. 8 a.m. to midnight. And it's an enormous amount of time. And I did it 7 days a week, and I wouldn't recommend that again. 6 days is good. You do need a day of rest, especially when you're working that hard. But 8 a.m. to midnight, that's what I did. Now, you can decide what you're going to do if you're full-time, but don't kid yourself. Just because you're in business for yourself doesn't mean you're just going to lay there and do nothing. I'm talking about 30 days, not 30 months, not 30 years, 30 days of that kind of effort in order to be able to get a massive return. So understand the time requirements. Then let's talk about distractions. All distractions are equal. All distractions are equal. Anything that gets in the way. You have to eliminate, purge your life from distractions. If there's stuff in your office that you look at it and it gets you distracted, move it away. If there's bills that when you look at those bills that get you distracted, have your spouse or partner deal with that for you or deal with it one time for the month and be done. Don't look at it again. What are the distractions? What are the things the triggers in your life that when they occur, you lose a day? Is it surfing on the internet? Is it watching, binge watching House of Cards on Netflix? What is it that steals your time? Distractions. Let's say you're a workout fanatic. You love working out 2 hours a day. Maybe you don't need to have 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. Maybe you don't. Maybe you can deal with 30 minutes for 30 days. You can live with that. Understand, avoidance behavior takes lots of different forms. Now, so distractions you got to deal with, and also you got to make sure that you have the tools necessary. Whatever your company has when it comes to tools, if it's printed material, if it's DVDs, if it's CDs, if it's website, if it's samples of products, you got to make sure that you're prepared to show somebody the product, you're prepared to show someone the opportunity, you're prepared to show your stuff. Do whatever you do in your presentation when you sit down with somebody. So you got to make sure you have the tools prepared to start that process, okay? Then next, pick a start date. This is scary for a lot of you. It's like, okay, what's the day I'm going to start this thing? It's like, a year from now or whatever it is. Pick a start date. When I started Network Marketing Pro, I'll tell you a quick story. I sat down with Gary Vaynerchuk in February 2009 because he was doing a lot of stuff on social media at the time. He had a wine video blog, for people who enjoyed wine, red wine, white wine, whatever. And so I paid him. I paid him $10,000 for a couple hours of his time. I went and met with him in February in New Jersey at his office. And because I wanted to do something around the network marketing profession, I thought that I could really help the network marketing profession. And so I paid him for the time. And you know what I decided to do? This was middle of February. March 11th was my birthday. So I said, you know what? That sounds good. I'll just do it on March 11th. I'm going to launch 3 weeks from now. On March 11th, and I had no clue. I didn't have a training course on how to do this. I had no clue. I didn't know how to do a website. I didn't know how to do a video. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know anything about anything. But guess what? I picked the date and I started. And that's what I would encourage you to do. We're going to go through this course, and after you go through this course, or maybe as your process going through this course, pick the start date, decide when you're going to go after this thing, and we're going to do it together, okay? So pick the date. This thing's, it's like super ninja markers. So pick a start date, and then again, I want you to imagine this done. Imagine this done. I want you just to fast forward in your mind till you just finished your 30 days. And how does it feel? How does it feel to have recruited 20 people in 30 days, to have a team of fresh, excited, motivated, empowered people looking at you, grateful for the opportunity to be able to do something special with you, looking at you with admiration? How about your family? And congratulating you, encouraging you, that non-supportive spouse saying, man, you convinced me in this process. Look what you did. You just did something special. Maybe you do. Maybe you can do this. How do your peers in your local market, how are they looking at you now that they know you've recruited 20 people in 30 days? How does your company responding? You probably won some awards inside of your company for fastest growing, most recruits, something. You've done something special. How do you feel? Are you proud? Is your family proud? How do you feel about your future? My hope for you is that when you finish this, you finally get a glimpse into your potential in network marketing, because this is what will give you a glimpse. We all join network marketing in this fog. There's a fog. And if you go engage in the 20 and 30, the fog will clear and you'll get a glimpse of your future. And it's a spectacular thing. You deserve this, okay? So what I want you to do, number one, I want you to understand what this is worth. As you're recapping this session, what is it worth to do 20 and 30? Make sure you do the exercise. Success loves speed. Here's what you get if you'll do the 20 and 30 versus 20 and 30 months. It's a much different result. You understand the numbers game. The numbers game of the amount of presentations you're going to have to do if you do it in a condensed burst of time in order to be able to get to your 20. You can get to that number. That's not a hard number to get to. You understand the schedule of what we're going to do in the first 10 days, second 10 days, third 10 days, our focus. And then you understand the preparation, that you're going to make a commitment. You're sacrificing. You're going to negotiate with family, business, friends, life. You're going to make the time commitment. You're going to eliminate distractions. You're going to make sure that you're equipped with the tools. You're going to pick the start date and imagine it done. Okay? So this is just to set the stage, but it's really important that you understand the value of this, because I'm going to give you the tactics now in the next modules, the tactics necessary in order to be able to make this all happen. This all sounds great, but now how do we do it? What do we do in order to be able to make this happen? So we're going to talk about filling the funnel next, and we're going to go through the rest of the modules. So I hope you enjoyed this. make your notes. Make sure your workbook, you've got your notes in the workbook and you've filled out the different processes here. And in the next module, we're going to help you get going, okay? So see you there.